No, we're live, I guess. So, what you doing there?
My computer is not working right. It's got a long delay on it for some reason. Primary purpose of this podcast is to educate and share opinions. When we have proof of the topic, it will be brought forth. This podcast does not constitute advice or services to anyone. Spoon and Puddin do not accept any responsibility or liability for anyone, our guests, or anyone's comments or actions based on material we talk about on our podcast. This podcast is for private, non-commercial use, and everyone should ascertain that the information we provide is correct and verified at all times. There shall be no adding to, editing, or reproduction of this podcast without prior written permission from Spoon and Puddin. You can reach us at realtalkwithspoonandpuddin@gmail.com. Welcome in, everybody. Real Talk with Spoon and Puddin, episode 53.
Well, we got to figure out what we're talking about. You gonna do banks or you gonna do that EPA thing? How fresh is that EPA thing?
Oh, let me go look real quick.
I mean, we already know that the forever chemicals need to come out of the water. We've been harping on that forever.
We've been talking on this for a while.
That says 6 days ago. So
yeah, this is the last week. Let's
just go back to the banks.
Yeah, we can come back to this because we've been talking on this. There's
been a lot. I'm sorry, I got Novocaine in the right side of my face, but oh man, they CBDCs are coming. They're, from what I've gathered from a guy I watch on YouTube frequently, Heresy Financial. They're saying they're going to start rolling those out June, July this year. They shut down Signature Bank along with SVB. Signature Bank was heavy into crypto. You got Credit Suisse going down, or tanking, catering. If you go to eBay, the price of silver and precious metals is going that way. Again, I know people invest in paper. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. You can, if you understand the derivatives and how they do all this as fractional reserve banking, if you start figuring this out, you could be some rich person in town and have $1 million on your books there at Farmers Bank. It don't mean they got it. They've probably loaned it out already. The city of Portland probably got it, because they don't have to have the money in the bank from have $1 million. Oh, there you go.
No, it's done. It's done. It was 1 second.
Mm-hmm. Turn that off, man.
People like Dave Ramsey and some of those, they want you to believe like Silicon Valley Bank was just for the extremely wealthy, and its fall does not affect the common people like you and I.
It's the thing is, people don't understand what Silicon Valley Bank did. If you look at Silicon Valley Bank, they oh my gosh, they were, all these tech companies, Roku. All right. Now there's some movies. I don't know. Did you ever watch Freedom to Fascism or Zeitgeist?
I watched Zeitgeist.
Okay.
Freedom. I don't know if I watched Freedom to Fascism.
Imagine if Roku lost all their money and the Fed didn't send the money over to them. And all of a sudden Roku puts Zeitgeist at the top of everybody's Roku device search stream to try to prioritize it so people watch it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks back to the robber barons, the Van Burens and the Rockefellers, the Carnegies. Everybody thinks back to them a lot and how much power they had. No. The banks have had power for a long time, but these tech companies, if you know that Twitter changed the regime or changed regimes, they used Twitter, Obama did, for the Arab Spring. So Twitter is responsible for knocking over governments. That means Roku and some of these other people who are injured by Silicon Valley could easily topple governments if they start shifting their priorities. What's going on? Why's that feedback coming from?
I don't hear anything.
You can't hear it?
Nothing going on. Nothing going on in my house.
Hmm.
Well, what do you think about some of the other talking heads that they're telling people not to move their money. If you're in a bank that's insured by FDIC, do not freak out. Stay calm.
You don't. As long as you're under the 250,000 threshold, you don't have to. You're fine.
Right. Because there's a lot of people out there that only has, $10, $20, $50,000 in the bank, and they're freaking out moving their money, but they don't really have to.
No, they don't have to.
If you're
get their money.
If you're in a local insured by FDIC, just leave it alone.
What I've been
if you're not going to go gold or silver, just leave it alone.
Well, what I've been talking about forever is, you'll get your $10 or $15 or $20,000, but it won't buy shit. I mean, that's what's going to happen to it when they start, because they have blamed you, the American people, for all them trillions that they just handed out. Yes. Oh yeah. Yes. The CARES Act and all that other BS they did for COVID and all them trillions that they printed. You didn't get trillions. You got maybe a trillion, but they spent what, 6 trillion, 5 trillion.
The first act that I think I can remember that started
2 trillion.
Was the Patriot Act.
No. The Patriot Act is a long time ago.
Yeah, but it still had on the way money was used, and the inflation and the actual value of the dollar. We were given 400 million here, and
they've been devaluing the dollar for decades. What I'm saying is Trump signed the CARES Act, which, God, I got bad feedback. I don't know where it's coming from.
Your headset or something?
I ain't got nothing on here.
I don't hear anything.
Got reverb up here. I don't know. Try to mute it. Okay. Still there. I don't. Anyway, you're going to have problems because the money's not going to, they keep devaluing it. They've been devaluing it forever. But if you start understanding fractional reserve banking, even at 10%, even if the bank had to keep 10% of your money in their vault, think $31 trillion that the U.S. government spent, and then that went out to bank accounts. And then only 10% of that stays, but then 90% of it goes to the next account. This is the old rule. They've actually changed it. It's much worse. Banks don't need to have it on hand. But so then you're paid to pave a road, and you go and you buy this asphalt, and you pay your workers, and then all this money goes to all these other banks, and then they only hold 10%. I mean, the amount of money that's rolling around is just crazy. It's insane. You cannot even fathom the number.
Well, the number of actual dollars in circulation, we've hit on this before, and national debt, it's not even close. But we talked about this, I think, at least on the phone. That one podcaster I told you, he went to the bank. He's wealthy, real well. Tried to get $250,000. That way he could have it as a, for his podcast. He was going to put it on table stuff, and he had a roundabout with him, and it took him 5 weeks. He had to wait 5 weeks. They said that they'd have it in 4 weeks, but he had to wait 5 weeks, and he could only get $160,000 in cash. He wanted $250 after 5 weeks of waiting. Mm-hmm. And this he was dealing with a bigger bank. It wasn't like this local bank, Yeah. So they tell you they got money. They don't have the money.
Well, they don't have the physical cash. They don't have well, that's what I'm saying. What's on the computer screen is unknown. I started paying a lot of attention to this in the Ron Paul era, the audit the Fed era, when he was trying to audit the Fed, because the Fed doesn't want to be audited.
Well, no,
because there's no telling how much money they've given to other countries and other dictators. But this is a 15-year-old thing where, going back to when I first started paying attention to Ron Paul in 08, 09. That was when I was waking up to all this. So I'm just saying that, these banks have completely screwed us. And if that number was told publicly, you would realize that, your money ain't valuable.
Well, me and you both know it's going to go to digital currency.
That's what they're working on.
The question is of when and how fast. And
I think from what he was saying is that the Fed has announced that they're going to start trying to roll out this CBDC June, July this year. Fed Now coin is what they're calling it.
Some of the talking heads think we're going to get as bad as Venezuela. I'm 1 to 10 that I don't think we're going to get that bad. Is it going to get bad? Yes, but not Venezuela bad. I mean, I guess it could, but
I think it could get worse.
You think it'd be worse?
I'm pessimist on that. Yeah. Well, we've been the world reserve currency right now, and right now the IMF is playing nice with us. What's going to shift when BRICS and all these other countries join the BRICS? Once that shift takes place, I'm actually kind of thinking about buying pesos now that Mexico is trying to join BRICS. At least there's a way you could, if you go back to Weimar, the Germans were trading in French francs, and they were trading in Swiss. They were trading in other currencies because their currencies were worthless.
Right.
But at the time, the Reichmark was pretty. People liked it, but all of a sudden they told Germany, "You got to pay for these war reparations," and then Germany just said, "All right, turn on the printer." And we've turned on the printer, and we've also allowed the banks to counterfeit. So each individual bank is currently counterfeiting money. They're printing it. They don't care. You want to buy a car and your credit's good enough? Here's your check, and there's nothing to back it up. Nothing at all.
Maybe we should invest it in Canadian money too. But
I don't trust that. I mean, Canada hasn't, as far as I've heard, I haven't heard them apply to BRICS. BRICS is going to be the currency. I think BRICS is going to be what kills the dollar. I believe that 100%. It's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, but now they call it plus because they've got Saudi Arabia, they've got some African countries, they've got Mexico applying. You're probably going to get a lot of South American countries.
A lot of people think when this finally comes to head and this economy crashes and the dollar's worth nothing, and you got to do the changeover, it's going to get as bad as Venezuela. I don't tend to see it's going to be as bad. You think it's going to be worse, but you go to digital currency. And that's going to give the government full control of your life because they can set the guidelines.
If they want to tell you that you can only buy 5 gallons of gas in a day, they can do it.
Yeah. That's going to be the downfall of more freedoms from the people. Because if you go to the store and they say you can only have 1 gallon of milk this week.
The truth is the store owners will be the ones that really drive what they accept.
But you think Walmart and Costco and Sam's and all those are not going to be on board with the government? Absolutely, they are.
They're gonna. Well, they'll nod to the government, but if the people reject Fed Now, then they can't. If nobody's shopping there because nobody wants Fed Now, then guess what? It's like down in Venezuela, the people are actually going and panning for gold again. And they're weighing out little chips of gold and flakes of gold, and they're using the money to denominate how much weight of gold it is. And the store owners are trading in gold. They're trading in physical gold because the currency's junk. If Mapco or Walmart said, "All right, bring in your silver dollars, and we'll, sell you groceries at a reasonable price," well, you better have some silver dollars on hand. It's going to get crazy, I think. I just, again, hopefully it doesn't do it anytime soon, but with all these bank crashes, there's no telling.
Well, it's going to be sooner than later.
Yeah.
And you and I were both under the opinion we wanted the economy to crash years ago to do the rebuild, but
it should have crashed in 2008. That would have been the time to go ahead and brace for impact. But kick the can on down the road.
Yeah,
You voted for that can kicker. You voted for the can kicker.
Who was president in 08?
Who became president in 09 and spent.
Doesn't matter.
Obama come in and did this. Obama come in and did the same thing Bush did. He spent twice as much as Bush.
And then Trump come in and spent twice as much as Obama
Yes.
in half the amount of time.
I think Biden's too brain dead to spend any money at this point.
No, all his cronies do the spending.
Now they spend, but he's too retarded to know what's going on. He's out of it. But I mean, I'm just saying we've got, there's a lot of problems on the horizon. That's all I'm trying to say. But other than that, like I said, the bank topic's always been one of my things that I've followed since 08, 09, that crash.
Well, why do you think that the Silicon Valley and the other bank really shut down? I mean, Silicon Valley seemed like they screwed the few wealthy they had invested in.
What should have happened, honestly, when the Fed seen what was going on, and all those tech companies started pulling their money, and they were down like 40-something billion, and they were selling bonds or treasuries at a loss. The Fed should have just injected the capital. The Fed could have treated SVB like BlackRock and just said, "Oh, here's $200 billion. It's on your books. Don't worry about it. We'll get it back. We'll buy your bonds at face value," and then they'd have the money. But instead they did this run, and I'm sure they did the FDIC closure because, problem, reaction, solution is what I think.
What's a lot of feedback?
You got it too now?
A lot of feedback. So I'm asking what if they're hearing that noise. They are. Check your headsets. Oh.
Now?
Do you hear anything? Now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
I still hear it. I don't know where it's coming from. Turn your Facebook off. Oh, what the hell?
What about now?
That's bad.
That's bad?
It's worse.
Better?
No. Hello? Now it's back to the way it was.
I don't hear anything on this side. So let me turn the phone up here on that end. So let me turn the. Yeah, I don't hear anything. So I guess we're good.
I hear
it's
it.
It's just on our side, I guess.
You don't hear it because you cause it. Turn that to Facebook. Just hit the X on the Facebook and let's see what happens. Close that.
Let me close it. Everything is off on it.
How about now? It's still there. Wait a minute. It went away. It's gone.
Okay.
Okay, now it's completely gone now. I can't hear it at all. No. Okay, so SVB has all these bonds and treasuries that are face value, but they're not going to mature, and it's going to take a while. So they're selling that money. They're selling it at a loss, and then that just drives the panic where everybody starts pulling the cash out. That's where the Fed should have backstopped it. Put the backstop in, sent the money over. Here's what you need. Here you go. Here's your money, and send us those bonds and those treasuries, and we'll hold them, but we're going to give you face value for them. And that would have stopped the run on the SVB. But problem, reaction, solution. If you're getting ready to roll out CBDCs, you've got to hurt the currency. So that's why I think they sent in the FDIC to backstop and just close it down and shut it down. And then they went after Signature Bank because they weren't looking so healthy. And then you got First Republic and Credit Suisse and all these other people that ain't healthy. And it's just a powder keg waiting to go off. But if the Fed isn't going to inject capital for the assets that these smaller institutions are holding, Farmers Bank and Volunteer could disappear tomorrow. I mean, they really could. They could be gone. All they got to do.
a lot of these banks, like you talk about Signature and some of them, a lot of these banks I thought were fakes from the beginning. I mean, me and you're against the bankers altogether, but I'm talking about, they start up and their main game is loan money that they really don't even have. Give people credit and stuff, and then when the times come calling, they just shut the down. And they still get their money, but everybody else is screwed.
Well, now everybody's taking their money out of these smaller banks and they're going to Bank of America, Chase Manhattan,
but why?
Wells Fargo. They're too big to fail. They know if there's a run on those banks, the Fed's going to inject liquidity.
Yeah, but if you have your money in your local bank that's FDI insured and you don't have $50,000,
it's not the guy. Those ain't the guys that called it. It's those tech billionaires out there that were sharing text and phone calls. Hey, SVD's in. They're going to lose our money. And it'll be the rich guys here in town. That got all their money tied up in that bank, and if they ain't got it subdivided against a bunch of different accounts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you've got $1 million in Farmers and FDIC steps in and shuts it down, you're only going to get 250. You just lost 75%.
Right.
Just like huh?
I don't have to worry about that, do you?
No, I don't. No. But that's what I'm saying. The Fed didn't backstop it on SVB, probably because they wanted it to fail. That's what I think it was.
Yeah.
I think this was. But what I'm saying is the Fed. I think the Fed's playing a dangerous game. Maybe they're trying to put a whip on the tech companies, but the tech companies could go a different way.
Well, and part of it's a scare tactic to try to scare the people into doing exactly what they want.
Oh yeah, well, that's what I'm saying with problem action solution. But again, I don't have too much more on this topic. We still got to work on our individual channels, or you got to get yours ready.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to figure out a name for mine so we can figure out how to do this going forward. But
we've run our half hour, so we want to say so.
Yeah, I got what I want to say off about the banks, but if y'all ain't following it, I'm just saying if you've got an account with more than $250,000, everything past $250,000 ain't, and I don't even know how FDIC works at this point. I haven't dug into it. If you're somebody who has $1 million and you got 4 accounts, they might look at you as just trying to skirt it. You know what I mean?
That's why you put it in different banks.
Well, if you go to different banks, sure, yeah. You're spreading it around. But if you're somebody at Farmers or Bank FU, let me rephrase it, the bank I don't really care for. My aunt is completely away from them, thank goodness. But no, Bank FU, if you're somebody in there thinking you're slick because you got 4 accounts and $250,000 across each of them, FDIC might not care about you. Yeah. If they go belly up and they're like, well, they're belly up because they loaned all your money to the city of Portland, and look at the city of now who, for the whole argument of you got a mortgage on your house, it's okay debt. Well, that's okay debt, but putting a mortgage on people isn't to the local. Oh, I'm going to touch on that topic. I don't want to dive into the rabbit holes. I can't feel the right side of my face still. That was 9:20 this morning. Shit's still there.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be back next week. We're going to be doing. We done an update yesterday, so.
We did. We're going to work on I may be back, Thursday night or Friday. Who knows? I may do something with, from my end where I go.
Either one of us may be back. We're just going to be.
If you get some topic pops in your lap by Wednesday or Thursday from Portland's favorite racist. Oh boy,
that's just wrong.
What's wrong? Come on, man. Everybody gave him a bad rap, man.
Mm-hmm.
News only wanted to cover one side. White man bad. That's all it was.
He's in the same category. Orange man bad, white man bad.
Yep, apparently. Yeah. We're all in that same category.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all again next week. Some other one topic. Try to keep it to one topic, I think. That's all. I like that a lot better.
Yeah.
All right. See y'all, people.